Hi, everyone. I'm Richard Taylor. Good evening, good morning to some of you who are in other places, or even good afternoon. I would like to introduce to you, first of all, Walter Nand. Hi, Walter.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Hi, Richard.
And you are here. You're attending the Unique Cruises France 22-23 E-Brochure launch, which is a mouthful. But Walter is the brains behind that, and we'll come to him in a moment. Hello, Adam Joseph.
Hi, Richard. Hi, Walter. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Adam.
Adam represents Qatar. He has a cat with him this evening, as you can see. We'll keep this relaxed, so don't worry about being too formal, everyone. If you have a cat, you may also hold the cat.
Yep.
The other presenters. Karen, good evening to you.
Hi everyone, great to see some familiar names up on the panel. Lovely to see you virtually.
And finally, Emma Dyson over in the UK, who's just come off mute. This is when I said about people in the morning. It's before, it's 9 o'clock in the morning there. Good morning.
Good morning everyone. Thank you for joining us. Hi.
And yeah, if you don't know me, I'm Richard Taylor, and it's the travelcommunityhub.com. Have a look at that. Sorry, travelcommunityhub.com. I won't go into too much detail because this is all about Unique Cruises, of course. But Walter's asked me to help with the event and present, and so I'll be answering, looking at your questions, and I'll be passing over to people. We're recording this session, so if you do have to leave, you can always come back to it, and I will send that through to everyone that's attended tonight. You'll get a link to that recording. So Walter, I can't seem to get away from you. Everywhere I go, there you are. It's nearly always online. But let's have a formal introduction for anyone that doesn't know you so well. You have been in the industry for, well, quite some time, haven't you?
Yeah, nearly 30 years. So I started obviously from kindergarten.
Yes.
Yep.
That old gag. Yes. When you were about 38. And then, so you're but more formally tonight, you're the founder and director of Unique Cruises, which is a relatively new adventure for you, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I had the great fortune of kicking this off just before COVID. So it's been an interesting year and a bit. But very excited because, during that time, it gives us a very unique opportunity to actually plan, replan, rethink, redo. That is very, very rare in business, to be able to readjust and have that time to be able to do it before everything gets really hectic. So to get us to this point has been really exciting.
Just to start a business focusing on luxury hotel barges, it does come from your history, doesn't it? River cruising was your thing for a while.
Yeah, I have been a river cruise specialist for some years, and had a great job, loved what I was doing. But then I was just looking for what would be the next evolution in river cruising, and I found that in luxury hotel barging. So yeah.
So it says here in the introduction that you sent me yourself. So you're a master cruise consultant and a cruise champion.
Yes, I am with Clear, which is the Cruise Lines International Australasia, and I've been a cruise master for a few years now, and that's to do with not just river cruising but ocean cruising as well. So I've been involved in the cruise space for quite some years.
And so you mentioned that you started this business just before COVID. Well done. I also did a similar thing with a business. But you quit a job that you loved, you told me. You've told me many times. But why did you choose to do that?
As I said, I was really looking for what was going to be the next evolution in river cruising. And it all kind of came about really by chance. I was up in France, and I happened upon one of the luxury barges, and to be honest, from the outside, I didn't think much of it. And then I stepped on board, and I was like, "Oh my Lord, this is amazing!" And from there, I just started exploring a few more options. And when I came back to Australia, I spent the next year and a half at all the travel shows I went to, asking people what they knew about luxury hotel barges in Europe. And even though there are some companies here that really good companies that represented the barges, there really wasn't that much knowledge. So I decided that this is what I wanted to be a part of. way back many years ago, when I got into river cruising, the company I was working for at the time had launched the very first river cruise in Europe. And I remember at that time going through and having to explain to travel agents exactly what a river cruise was on the Rhine or on the Danube. And what I'm finding with the luxury hotel barges is I'm right back to that space again, which is just so exciting, which is why I decided to quit this job. Like I said, the job that I absolutely loved, had a great boss. There was no reason for me to leave.
You can be honest, as the boss here tonight. You can.
No, he's not actually.
Okay.
I'll have to pull him up on that.
Yeah.
But when I decided to do this, it was really very much about that next step forward, and everything that I love about river cruising on the Rhine or on the Danube, but shrink wrapped and brought down in scale, is what we get from a luxury hotel barge. And just that element of being able to bring that to the Australian and New Zealand public is so exciting for me. I kind of had the wind taken out of my sails, of course, when COVID hit and all of that stuff that we had to go through. But at the same time, I thought, well, you know what? Great quote I saw today: no winter lasts forever. So it was a matter of just hunkering down, weathering the storm, and saying, okay, how are we going to emerge? How are we going to be stronger when we come out of this? So as many of you actually who are watching today and will watch the recording know, that I've tried to keep my profile up, keep Unique Cruises up, throw some inspirational, aspirational things up through there, through social media. And then I just felt that, you know, we need to start making plans to move forward. So, so here we are.
Good on you. And that kind of leads me nicely to the next question I've got, which is why now to launch a brochure?
Good question. I've had a few people ask me that. I just think the time is right for us to start taking control of our futures, to start planning. From the many people that I've spoken to, the consumers that are out there have got the money, they want to travel, they want to spend, they want to plan, they want to have something to look forward to. Unfortunately, because of the storm that hit us as an industry, many of the travel agents and tour operators, wholesalers, are still a little bit gun shy and just a little bit weary. I've taken the opposite approach and said we will be traveling. I know that without being too political, the Australian government is kind of stuffed up a bit on the vaccines right now, but we'll get back on track, and the vaccine will roll out, and it is being rolled out worldwide. So I'm pretty confident that next year we will be able to be traveling and be able to take our holidays. And from what I've seen, for those travel agents that are putting out the information to their clients, the clients are pretty confident about that as well. They are starting to inquire and starting to make deposits.
But this is an e-brochure. Why have we done online and not a real brochure launch? I mean, obviously there's not so many places open to do that now, but I want to ask you, is it because you're tight-fisted with your money, or what? Is it cheaper to do it that way?
It is cheaper to do it that way, but that's not the reason. I actually had a conversation today with a travel agent who asked me the same thing. When I set up Unique Cruises before COVID, part of our sustainability policy was to not print brochures as much as we can help it, because over the years that I've worked in the industry, I have seen so much wastage. And as a buyer at some of the big events around the world, like ITB in Berlin or Futura in Spain, all these major events, I've seen piles and piles of brochures just sitting out the back. That is just so wasteful. And even for travel agents, I've gone into the travel agent's office at the end of a season, and they've got the skip bins out there and just throwing boxes of brochures into it. I think it's incredibly wasteful. And we decided that, you know, when I set up Unique Cruises, that as much as possible, we would do everything online. So that's the reason for the e-brochure. There is an option for a printable PDF if people would like that. But that's great because then it gives the option for those that want a printable copy to be able to do it themselves and not just have the mass production. Now, the reason that we're doing a online launch is quite simple. We've got people coming in from pretty much every state, except Northern Territory. I didn't see them on the list, so I'll have to pay a visit to them at some point. And it would just be almost impossible for me to get around and be as efficient in launching than doing it here. And also too, it's an online product. It's an e-brochure, so it makes sense to do it online. And if we had a live event, it'd be very difficult for us to get Emma to come down and present for us as well.
You've got some thank yous you want to, I know you want to do, and you're not the entire team of Unique Cruises, are you? So let's not forget those that have helped you put this together. But yes, who are the people you want to say thank you to?
Yeah, have you got that slide that you can bring up?
Yeah, yes, somewhere. But if you start talking, I will do that. Yeah.
So firstly, just before we kick off the event, there's a couple of things that I did want to say. Number one is, for those of you that have been to my presentations over the years, you know that I can speak for an hour quite happily about the product and get all excited and bounce around the stage. This time around, I'm actually going to be doing very little talking, and I'll leave that to our panelists. And I'll just wait, Richard, are you able to bring that up onto?
I'm trying.
Full screen? Yeah, no worries. But of course, I particularly want to thank Karen from Belmond for being here, Emma for getting up early and dialing in from the UK, Adam from Qatar, and also to Journey Beyond Cruise Sydney, who supplied us with one of the prizes for this evening. And also to Sabina from the Travel Industry Network, who has been absolutely instrumental in getting the e-brochure edited, sorted, and getting it ready for today, working up until late last night. I thought my team was going to kill me because I kept making last minute changes, but that's the good thing about having an e-brochure, not a print brochure. We still can change last minute. And also to Richard, thanks for hosting today. You know, I've watched your webinars over the last year and a half, and it's been outstanding. So it's a real honor for you to be able to host this. And then the other two people that I'd really like to thank is my teammates. So if you could bring that next little picture up,
Here
Richard.
they are. Yep.
Yep. Big particular thanks to Clark and Jacinta. Without them, really, it would have been almost impossible for me to get to this stage right now. Clark has been basically took over all the operational side from me, set up all the back end. We did change systems a couple of times, hey Clark, but I had to learn a few new systems, and it turns out you can teach an old dog new tricks, although I'm still learning. And Jacinta, I think I drove her crazy last night with the last minute changes. She's been responsible for really getting the look and feel and design of Unique Cruises together. And really the brochure is full thanks to her for concept right through to last minute changes last night. So huge thanks to those two. Wouldn't have been able to do it without them. So that's the thank yous for now.
Oops.
Like I said before, for those of you that have seen my presentations over the years, you know I get a bit excited and really can't shut up. This time, I'm going to hand it back to Richard and let him take us through for most of the session. But I will say that I am extremely excited and extremely proud of the e-brochure that we've put together. It's 84 pages long. There's lots of great content in there, and we will put up the link at the end of the presentation so that you all have access to it.
And if you're watching the recording, that will be in the notes below the recording. We'll make sure that's there. Some comments came through whilst you were chatting with lots of hellos from people. Hello to everyone who said hi. But specifically, Alicia Clark says, and you did an amazing job. This is talking about your river cruise days. Still remember your river cruise training. She says, Sarah Fenton says, I think you're right with yourself. With your sentiments, Walter. If we don't take control of our clients and our future, someone else will. Time to look towards a positive future. Common sense, says Katie, that's in regard to the e-brochure. I think there's a lot of people would agree with you there. Sarah Birtwhistle says we're only doing e-brochures from now on. They're a terrible waste and they all go to landfill. So it's a good call, she says. So a lot of sentiment like that. So are we ready to get started?
Indeed.
I think we are. Okay, so first up will be Emma from European Waterways. Like what we've already mentioned, she's got up early. I think she wins the prize for making the biggest effort to.
Yay!
She obviously,
is that the Moe?
we did say this would be a nice, relaxed event, and you should have a drink. But I'm just for you, Emma, perhaps not. So anyway, we're going to hand over to you. And I'll disappear off screen for a little while. And Alicia, you're in the UK. You are with someone else from the UK.
Oh, hi, Alicia.
Yeah.
I don't feel so lonely now.
So
Thank you.
so off you go with your chat, and we'll come back in a little while.
Good stuff. Okay.
Cool.
I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully you can see that.
We can.
All good. Perfect. So thank you, Richard. Thank you, Walter. Everyone else that's joined today. What we're going to do is talk a little bit about what is hotel barging, and we'll talk a little bit about our unique barges, where we cruise in France, and a short piece at the end of why it's so suitable now to sort of post-COVID travel. I'm going to just switch off my camera as well, actually, because sometimes it freezes on here. So let's get started. European Waterways, who are we? So we've been operating for over 40 years now, and we specialise in creating a really unique, all-inclusive cruising experience on board luxury hotel barges. Across the fleet, we've got 17 hotel barges, and we cruise in 9 countries, in fact. Today we're going to look at France, and we cruise the scenic inland waterways and canals, 6 regions in France that we're going to just take a look through in a moment. So what is hotel barging? So most hotel barges have started life many, many years ago as cargo vessels, carrying things like wine, timber, grain, you name it. And these have been converted, as you'll see when we go through, to offer really unique luxury boutique accommodations. They look completely different on the inside as to what they look at on the out, as Walter mentioned earlier. The minute you step on board, you literally say, wow. It's offering guests full immersion into culture, the history and the gastronomy of the region as well is very, very key in terms of cruising. It's creating that intimate atmosphere, high levels of personal service. It's 6 nights on board, and guests enjoy a blended balance of daily excursions, sightseeing, and of course cruising as well. So I'm going to just highlight a few key points of what's the difference between a hotel barge and a river cruise. The glaringly obvious here is our size. You can see we carry between 6 to 12 passengers in France. The crew to passenger ratio is very different. We cruise on canals, and that's a big key factor. So these canals, we can kind of control water levels. We go through certain locks. So sort of navigational issues are very, very rare in terms of water issues. And we travel at a much shorter distances and slower pace, about 3 miles per hour. So very relaxed and slow. Sort of meandering along, and it's cruising those inner waterways that are often inaccessible to those larger vessels. And one key point to note on our hotel barge cruises is we don't cruise at night time, we are moored, so it's cruising during the day only. So I'm going to run through what's included on all of our barges across the fleet. It's 6 nights, Sunday to Saturday. Accommodation in fully air-conditioned ensuite rooms, cabins or suites, depending on the style of barge. It's high-quality linens, towels and bathrobes and toiletries. All the transfers by our crew, and we'll have a look at that in a moment, who's on board. All daily excursions by a private chauffeured minibus, and that's including the entry fees as well. And then, of course, the service of the team, that's the captain, a chef, housekeeper, deckhand and a tour guide. So breakfast, lunch and dinner on board, fully included. There is a fully stocked open bar, excellent selection of fine regional international wines and spirits, teas and coffees, and of course non-alcoholic drinks as well. And once they're on board, they have use of the facilities, and that's Wi-Fi, bicycles for everyone. There's games, library and on-deck spa pool on most. So the only thing to think about as an additional would be the gratuities. So they are not included, and they are obviously very appreciated and at the guest discretion, usually paid at the end of the cruise week. So before we have a quick look at it in terms of where we cruise in France, we're going to have a look at the barge standards and categories, because across those 12 barges in France, they are very different in style, size and cost as well. So we're looking at 3 categories. We've got ultra deluxe, which is the image here in the background. It's a very luxurious, almost comparable to a hotel suite, very, very spacious ultra deluxe. Slightly smaller cabins, you're looking at a deluxe hotel barge. And then you've got the first class, which are the more compact, cozy cabins with the smaller sort of porthole windows, slightly smaller space in those public areas as well. That's the main differences in that. Everything else will stay the same. All the inclusives will be exactly the same. So it's really the size of that space and cabin and room. Now, I haven't had time to put on the slides of all of the barges' interior shots, so I've hand sort of picked a few nice interior ones here. It's just to show you really the individual character, because across the fleet there's sort of a real mix between French decor, ultra modern, for example, open galley kitchens on some of the barges, and really large spacious sun decks as well. So they all do offer something for everyone in terms of cost, style and size. So a couple of screenshots coming up of images of the barges. I've tried to sort of give you a sample of ultra deluxe and right the way through to first class as well. This is Renaissance, which is kind of our flagship ultra deluxe hotel barge. You can see lots of space on the sun deck there. This is La Belle Epoque, cruising in Burgundy. Again, really spacious. Now this is a deluxe hotel barge, just holds 12 passengers. See the size of the style of the cabin, and the room there is slightly smaller. Still lots of space in those public areas. Down to the Canal du Midi here, we've got Enchanté with the spa pool there, and just the image on the lower picture there is a first class barge. You can see again the size of the cabin there is smaller. So it just gives you a sample of the interior images. Again, there's only a few on here just in terms of the time that we've got today. There's lots more. We're going to have a look at the crew next, and these play a key part to the cruise week. They are on board from the moment the guests are met at the transfer pickup point, right the way through to when the guests are dropped off on the Saturday. And that includes a qualified captain. We've got Laurent here at the wheel of Jody in the image here. We know all of our crew very, very well. They're almost like family. Captains are real barge masters. They really do impress with their skills. We've got deckhands working behind the scenes. They help to reposition the hotel barge minibus, prepare bicycles. English-speaking tour guides, they are there really with the guests to transfer them on their tours, escort as well on excursions. Of course, we've got the hosts and hostesses, and they're there really to take care of the guests and serve meals and drinks whilst on board. The gourmet chef, who is really a mine of information. They serve phenomenal dishes. And you'll see in a moment the type of sort of cuisine that's served on board, national, international, regional dishes, and of course the cheeses and fine wines as well that's served through lunch and dinner. So gourmet dining highlights next. So we mentioned the chef there. They really do create mouth-watering menus using the finest of ingredients. It's visiting those sort of vibrant markets, specialist suppliers where we have locally sourced produce and that food is served back on board. It's a very informal, relaxed setting. The chefs invite the guests back to the galley kitchen. They host cooking demonstrations, offer really useful tips. And just to note at this point, chefs can accommodate for most dietary requirements as long as we know at the time of booking or certainly before departure. So some images here of some of the dishes that's served on board. So you can see it's almost fine dining, but with a really relaxed, informal setting, really.
Emma, are we allowed questions? Wayne asked,
of course.
Wayne asked, what would be the recommended gratuities per person?
Yeah, so good question. So the sort of average, it depends. So on whether it's a private charter or a cabin booking, but on average, you're looking between 5 and 7% of the total cost. So hopefully that gives you a sort of ballpark.
Yep. And then another one I've got from Katie. What is the demographic for the cruises? Do you get a lot of local guests or mostly international?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Katie. So the sort of average demographic we're looking at is around 60% are from the USA, North America, Canada, and then the rest is made up of Australia, New Zealand, and then Europe. Very, very few UK guests. We're trying to sort of pump that a little bit more in the coming years, obviously with post-COVID. But yeah, it's mostly international guests that we have, and again, that's mostly American, Canadian, a mixture then of Australia, New Zealand, some Southeast Asia as well.
Gotcha. Thank you. That's the end of the questions that I've got so far.
Great. Thanks, Richard. So we're going to have a look next at a typical day on board. Again, this is across the fleet. It doesn't matter which barge or cruise area. It's a breakfast on board and then followed by a few hours of cruising. And this is really an opportunity to either relax, stay on board with a book, watch the world go by, or you can stroll the towpath, ride a bicycle. It's a very, very slow-paced cruising experience. After lunch, which is usually al fresco served on board, there's an excursion, and then you're taken back to the barge for aperitifs, followed by gourmet dinner and fine wines. And again, to note at this point, you're moored in the evening. So a lot of the time guests do, after dinner, take a stroll. You're moored up near a local village or town. You can visit a local auberge, that type of thing. So it's a very, very relaxed, informal, low-key, sort of typical day on board. So we're going to kind of put a focus on private charters, as we are all probably aware as we emerge out of this sort of pandemic. It's becoming increasingly obvious now that this is what clients and people are looking for, and that's private barge charters for large groups of friends and families. With a private charter, it's almost offering them the opportunity to almost tailor the itinerary. It's themed itineraries that we can offer to suit the group's interests. So whether that's a group of golfers, a walking enthusiast, wine appreciation, culinary, cycling, you name it, there's themed cruises to suit everybody's interests. And as a private charter, as I say, this is becoming increasingly popular. More so for families and friends, and that's those multi-generational families. We're seeing a real trend of sort of grandparents taking their children and grandkids. Again, it's a growth market for this new world of travel that we're all faced with. It really is sort of the perfect environment for family and friends. It's complete privacy, it's a travel bubble, and it's activities that the whole family can enjoy. It's offering almost an a la carte choice of excursions. It's dependent on obviously the children's ages and what the adults would like to do, not forgetting them as well. So it's a real balance that we can put together for, we've done some fantastic family charter itineraries in the past. That could be including animal farms, kayaking, horse riding, lots and lots of activities that we can include there. So I did mention earlier bicycles. There are bikes on board for all guests to use at any time. Most cruise routes and regions in France have really easy towpath walking and biking opportunities. For those wanting to go a little bit further, we get guests on board that are just a bit more energetic, for example. We can offer on some of the barges printed maps and also sort of a self-guided app that they can download on their phone and follow an itinerary. So we've never lost anyone yet. Fingers crossed we don't. But they get given a backpack, a barge phone, picnic if they want to take as well. So for those just wanting that little bit of extra space and time to go off and explore, they certainly can. And just to note as well, which it's becoming a bit more popular over the years, is e-bikes. We get a lot of requests for that. So always ask, and we'll see if we can get them pre-ordered to the selected barges. Some images here of some of the long towpaths. I mean, you really can go for miles on here and not see a soul. And then you meet the barge at one of the locks as it comes along. It really is great to watch the barges head off there in the distance. Some nice walking images here as well. So you can see we're never too far from a towpath where you can hop on and off. and just explore. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Just getting under the skin of these regions where really you can't really get to unless you drive or other means of transport. So we talked about excursions, and it's a daily excursion that's included, and we like to kind of call these insider experiences because they're not just excursions. We've curated and handpicked these over the years, and it's really authentic, immersive experiences that we're taking guests on. It's like meeting the local countesses from villas and chateaux along the regions. It's visiting artisans, watching them create, bread making, clockmakers, beekeepers. It's all about the local markets, bakeries, and the culture. We do have onboard music as well on some of the barges. So again, it's very, very inclusive. The unique excursions can be anything from falconry displays, visiting goat cheese farms. We visit some fantastic battlefields and castles, famous film locations, and really popular are the private visits to wineries, stately homes and chateaux. And this is where they really do feel that it's a unique excursion. It's just for them. And it's very, very popular, very satisfying to be part of. So I'm going to just touch briefly on where we cruise next. As I say, we cruise in 9 countries, but the focus here today is France. It's 12 barges in this region, through Burgundy, the Midi down south, Champagne, Alsace, Gascony and Bordeaux, and of course the Loire Valley. Most of these cruise regions, as you can see, are off the beaten track, all offering a very rich cultural and gastronomic heritage as well, which we really get in depth with in terms of the excursions, but also the food and the wine that they're tasting throughout the cruise week. So up first, we've got Burgundy, the heartland of the wine region of France, some would argue, and it is really home to some of the world's finest wines. Around 60,000 acres of sunlit vineyards, and a couple of our cruise routes actually cruise through these vineyards. You can see them left and right. They really are stunning scenery. Down to the south, Canal du Midi, warmer climates. I think probably one of my favourite cruise routes because it's much warmer down there. Beautifully sort of tree-lined canals, those famous plane trees as you're cruising through. You can also see the Pyrenees mountains in the distance on some occasion. It really is stunning. The Loire Valley, fairy tale region, it's surrounded by magnificent chateaux. We have a hotel barge Nymphia there cruising. It's just one barge in this region. Absolutely stunning scenery there as well. Back down south, just west of the Canal du Midi, it's the quieter side of the Midi really, Gascony and Bordeaux. Rosa cruises here. Again, it's just one barge in this particular region. This is really, I would say, famed for its gastronomic traditions, but also its fine wines and of course the famous brandy as well. Champagne really sells itself, very, very popular now thanks to this famous sparkling wine. We visit some fantastic champagne houses on this particular cruise itinerary. It's very popular. And then Alsace, which is the image here, I think probably again one of my other favourite regions. It's very unlike France. It's a very hilly, very forested, sort of very picturesque, but it's got a French-German kind of culture, a mixed blend between the two. So it's a very unique particular region, this one. Nice to visit. We've got some images coming up here of some of the tours that we visit. This is the Beaune de Hospice in Burgundy. Aerial shot here of Carcassonne, medieval fortified city, one of a kind, on the Canal du Midi region in the Med. So there's just some of the cruise areas in France that we visit. Before we sort of wrap up, I want to just highlight the update to our terms and conditions due to COVID-19 affecting all of us. It's a book with confidence. It's really for any new bookings that are made up to the 30th of June this year. For cruises either this year, which is we're thinking highly unlikely, but we hope, we live in hope. But for, more importantly, for cruises next year, 2022, guests can reschedule the cruise at any time up to 30 days prior to departure if there's a COVID-19 related regulation in place by the government, and it's preventing travel to the barge. So it's really just to give peace of mind for those really wanting to book something and have something to look forward to, but are a little bit unsure. This hopefully will give them that peace of mind whilst booking and placing deposits. Just to note as well, at this point, European Waterways, we are fully bonded members of ABTA and ABTOP, which just basically provides the protection for clients' money held by the company. So we're going to wrap up with why choose a hotel luxury barge cruise. Hopefully what I've given so far gives you some inspiration and sort of an insight into what a hotel barge is and why. I'm going to run through some points just as a recap and welcome any questions when we've finished. So just to think about really small numbers, it's what it's all about as we emerge and start thinking about traveling again when we can. It's cruising with the same group of passengers if it's a charter, but also if not, it's fewer than 10 on average, 10 passengers, all like-minded passengers traveling together looking for the same thing. So it's small numbers, it's private charters of groups, family and friends, it's complete privacy, but also the chance to customize a themed itinerary as well. So just to remember those themes, like you know, a group of wine enthusiasts, we get a sommelier on board, they have wine tastings throughout the cruising week. There's lots of opportunity for those themed cruises that we can offer. Those private excursions, they're exclusive often to chateau and wineries. It's just us, it's just the owner, and he or she is there with you and the tour guide. It really does make for a very unique insider experience, and that is what we're focusing on moving forward as we emerge. Again, it's all by our own deluxe transportation, so we have a unique sort of very comfortable fleet of Mercedes vehicles, fully air conditioned, and our tour guides use them throughout the cruise week. It basically follows the barge route, the minivan, and it's there from the start to finish. So we don't sort of outsource anything like that at all. And then, of course, there's the space and well-being. You've seen how close we are. You're never really more than a few feet from the bank. That's the opportunity to hop off and wander and explore if you want. Often you just find people relaxing with a glass of rosé and a book on board, watching the world go by. So entirely up to yourself. Luxury hotel barging is really the perfect product for post-COVID travel. We firmly believe that. It's small numbers, private charters through the countryside. Just to finish off, we do have an attractive range of special offers on selected departures, and I'll leave that with Walter and the great team there at Unique Cruises to offer more details. Please contact them. And really what's left to say is just a really big thank you for giving us the opportunity today and listening. And we really do honestly look forward to welcoming guests on board really soon, fingers crossed when we can. So I'll hand back over to Richard at the Travel Community Hub, and thank you once again.
Thank you, Emma. Terrific. You've done that before, haven't you?
About 50 times.
Yes, yes, I thought so. Any comments, Walter?
I know, it was fantastic. Thanks so much, Emma.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's that's why I wanted to have other people talk about it, because I get excited when I start talking about it. It's nice to hear from somebody else that is also very excited about the barges as well.
I've got some more questions as well. I did invite questions. I didn't actually expect them. It's very annoying to get questions. But in all seriousness, so Kate, we've done Katie's about that, about the demographic, but she also asked, have you had any safety issues when moored at night?
Oh, no. Well, no, good question. Not that I'm aware of. So when we moor at night, we tend to moor sometimes it's pretty remote areas, depending on, like, for example, the Canal du Midi. I'll never forget, a couple of years ago, we were actually moored between two plane trees with ropes attached to either side. And I was thinking, is this it? I mean, there's horses on one side, there's just nothing as far as the eye can see. It was the most peaceful, serene, safe night I think I've ever felt on a hotel barge. But no, in terms of safety, there's locks. The crew are very, very good. They're pretty much always there through morning and night. They stay on board. So not that I mean, I've worked for European Waterways for 12 years now. So I would say not. It's not that type of cruise.
Not with murders and things like that.
No.
No. Okay. Katie, again, are you requiring passengers to be vaccinated currently?
Good question, Katie. That's still question marked. So we are following pretty much every day on our government advice and guidelines. At the moment, it's a no for France. That could change. So always just contact Unique Cruises and check the website just to make sure. We'll advise you guys anyway, Walter, if there's a booking made, what we will need. But at this stage, the safe procedures in place are at pickup point at transfer, it's the temperature check, a guest questionnaire, and then disinfection of the luggage on arrival that gets taken to the cabin, and then mask sanitizers throughout the cruise week, and the crew are wearing masks as well. But again, that can change. So just keep an eye on that.
Okay, Carol Parker says, on the e-brochure, are there a list of excursions for each destination?
The day-to-day itineraries are listed in the brochure, and for those that we recommend theme cruises, so whether it be golf or cycling or walking or what have you, there's a panel on the side that gives some suggestions. But realistically, if there is anything at all that you need, then just let us know, and we'll talk to you one-on-one. You know, when I was working with the bigger cruise ships, we get all sorts of things like, you know, knitting circles and quilting groups and things like that.
Charter.
So,
yeah.
So there you go. See, so everything is possible.
Really?
It's just a matter of asking us.
Yeah.
Come on, Richard, you know you want to go on a knitting charter.
We'll get you booked.
Yes, well, it's something to keep my head warm. Sarah Fenton says, these images are beautiful. She sent that at 6:35, but she doesn't mean our images.
Thank you, Sarah.
She doesn't mean us. She means your images, Emma.
Okay,
do we have access for social media promotion? I'll come to another question.
Yeah, if you get in touch with us with regards to that, then Jacinta will be able to work with you to sort out a social media plan.
Are you sailing this summer or are you on hold? I think we've answered that, haven't we? We're more looking at 20 more.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at 2022, I guess, for international travelers. But saying that, we're cruising. Our barges are all waiting and are set, ready to go. We're just waiting every day and catching up with the guidelines. But at the moment, we are fully intending and ready to cruise. We're looking at sort of July now for European clients because they can get here easy, but also UK guests as well. So we will be cruising this year, but I don't know about international travel if that's possible. Maybe in September. I mean, I'm hopeful that we'll see, you know, Americans, Canadians, Australians, international, you know, guests in September, October. We cruise right the way through to the end of October. Actually, that's a good point. We don't cruise in the winter months. We cruise April to October only. So I'm hopeful for the end of this year, if not for sure next year. In 2023, we're on sale as well. So,
got it. I really don't want to go out. This is fab, says Sarah Birtwistle. She's had to leave, I think. So I've said that's okay. She can leave. She can watch the recording. Thanks, Emma, says Gina Edwards with kisses on the end.
thank you.
Thanks, Emma, says Wayne, without any kisses, but he does say it's great information. Glenda Halliwell. Hello, Glenda. It's Coffs Harbour, isn't it, Glenda? Fabulous. Now you've made me homesick for a trip to Europe. Looks like an amazing product to sell. Regards, Glenda. Kathy Labozetta says, how does this compare to river cruising in regards to pricing? Good question.
Really good question.
Yeah.
So, sort of on an actually, Walter, do you want to do that question? You more.
Yeah, I'll jump in on that.
Yeah.
We won't be talking specific pricing today because this is being recorded. So we're going to be a little bit careful about what we talk specifics about pricing, but it is basically comparable to an APT or a scenic, if you like, for those that are listening in. So on a daily basis, it's it's great value for money. But if you want to know more specifics, I'll be sending an email out to everybody tomorrow, and then we can have a chat from there.
That probably answers Alicia Clark's question about agent rates. What's the best contact, Walter, says Gina Edwards.
Everyone wants agent rates.
Whatever.
Who doesn't?
What's the best
Walter
contact?
at uniquecruises.com.au.
And that,
Walter at uniquecruises.com.au.
yes, I know that. Thank you. Walter at uniquecruises.com.au for the last time. And oh, one more. It looks like you have a barge in Scotland. Is that correct, says Katie?
We do. We have 2 barges in not so sunny Scotland. Bring a coat and a bobble hat.
We have that as part of our program. That'll be in our brochure that'll come out in the next few weeks, which is the UK, Ireland, and Italy. So keep an eye out for that.
Good stuff. Right, that comes to the end of these questions for now. You can, or if anything pops up, you can, of course, ask them and we'll come back to them later. But Walter, over to you.
Well, we're going to do a prize draw now, Richard.
Yes.
Now, European Waterways have sent through some prizes. Unfortunately, because everything's taking so long to get here, the box didn't arrive in time. So, Richard, if you're able to put up on that screen, and then Emma can explain what was sent through. And then what'll happen basically is when I receive it, I will just break down the prizes and hand it out to the winners.
Yeah, so sorry about that with the mail. You should get it soon, hopefully. But this is a good sample for now. So the first image there is the Rick Stein French Odyssey cookbook. So it's over 100 recipes. Now he is, you probably all are aware of Rick Stein. If not, he's a very, very world famous chef. And years ago, he cruised on board 2 of our barges with his film crew for, I think it was between 4 to 6 weeks, along the Canal de Midi, right the way through up towards Gascony, and cooked and filmed all the way through using sort of fresh produce.
It was brilliant. I didn't realize it was one of your boats, but the series itself
it's fantastic.
Somewhere, it's terrific. I thoroughly recommend that.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got these Rick Stein books that are signed by the man himself on his culinary discovery. Well worth the watch if you're homesick or want a bit of France. But yeah, the book is winging its way to you, Walter. Hopefully not too long a wait. And then just next to it is a bottle stop for any champagne you haven't finished. You can pop the European Waterways logo bottle stop on there and a cruise guide book as well, European Waterways guide.
Perfect. So, Richard, you're going to draw a couple of names and let us know who the winners are.
Yes.
I said that I wouldn't do it because then everybody blames me for being biased.
Yes. Now, how many have we got for this one? Is it 2?
2, yeah.
Okay. So, assuming they're still here, and I will just check they are still with us because the rules are that you have to be with us, aren't they? Yes. Okay. So the 2 winners are Nadine Newport. If these are friends of yours, by the way, say you've got to tell me, and like we'll cancel them. They just or your auntie or something. Yes.
Well, they're all friends of mine.
Okay, Nadine Newport is the first winner. The second one is
Donna
Sheehan.
Oh, okay, Donna. Well done. So once I get the box of goodies, then I will get those sorted out and get them sent out to you. And I think that wraps up. Thanks so much, Emma.
You're welcome.
That was brilliant.
Thanks for having me.
That's terrific. Now you're going to hang around, aren't you, or at least part of the rest of the time?
I will. I'm going to switch off though and sit back and watch and enjoy.
Terrific. Okay, so Walter, I think we're ready for Adam now, aren't we?
We are indeed.
Here he is. Adam's. Oh, you've got a screen up behind you now.
Hopefully, it'll come back to the image of our lovely Q suites in a minute. So. Well, I can make a start. You might have seen before I had these lovely Q suites on, so I don't know what happened, but yeah. But thanks for having me along tonight anyway, Walter and Richard.
Oh, you're welcome, Adam. Thanks for coming, mate.
So shall I make a start?
Please do. Please do.
Okay, I'll just share my screen. I won't be long.
Oh, look, you're back.
Oh, you're back.
You're
back in the
cabin. Good. I'm back. Okay. So just going to start with a video and then I'll get onto a little presentation. This is about how much we all miss traveling. So I'll pop this one on now. Once again, happy to take any questions if, throughout if we want to make this less formal.
We've taken it for granted.
Cool.
as it
I'll
will
leave you to the
always be
video.
there. We realise just how much we miss it, how much we need it. When this is over, we need to appreciate it.
Okay, well, thanks very much again for having me along tonight. I think those barge cruises look amazing. I love France as well. So, of course, would love to sample that one day. And hopefully when your clients are ready to travel again, you might consider getting them to Europe on Qatar Airways, whether they're flying into France and going straight on to one of those lovely barge cruises, hotel barge cruises, or they might be doing something else, visiting family and friends. You know, we're there to get them there. So just as similar to the barge cruises, we were also very flexible with our policies and procedures at the moment. Basically, we have a policy that's up to the end of April, but I'm sure will be continue to be extended like it has over the last year. Clients can still book with confidence, hold on to the ticket for 2 years, make unlimited date changes, and if they're traveling during this year, they can refund their ticket. Who knows, we may extend that into next year as well, but we've been very flexible throughout the pandemic and been doing refunds quickly and all that sort of thing. So hopefully you've noticed that. Another thing that we're quite proud of is we fly these lovely new A350s. So you can see in my picture there, I'm sitting on an aircraft. I wish I was sitting on an aircraft, but the Zoom background is one of our Q suites. So we have them on our lovely A350s and our 777s. We used to fly A380s to a lot of our Australian destinations, but unfortunately, and then it's not viable to fly them anymore at the moment. Who knows what the future will hold, but we're really proud to fly these lovely new A350-1000s. They've only got 2 engines instead of 4. They're a lot more sustainable. So this will probably be the aircraft that your clients will be flying on Qatar Airways in the future. They're cleaner, they're greener, and a bit more sort of sustainable at the moment. Here's a short video on the A350. We have 53 of those in our fleet. So we really think that's the future of aviation, is the ones we have, 787 Dreamliners and A350s and 777s, the medium-sized aircraft that can go a long way. So they're the ones that will probably be more focused on than the A380s in the future. Another thing that your clients are probably very interested in hearing about now, because we haven't stopped flying, we're still flying every day, and into the future when they're planning their travels once the borders reopen and they can do their holidays again, is the standard of safety, hygiene, cleanliness that we have on board and in our airports and things like that. Flying's changed for better or for worse. It's very different than what it was before because of COVID, but because we haven't stopped flying, we've flown every day during the pandemic. We're the most experienced airline in looking after your clients, and we have, I think we've handled things very well. We've got a 5-star COVID safety rating from the authorities. Just a few measures that we've taken and will continue to have in the future. We have at the airport in Doha, the staff there have smart screening helmets, which uses virtual reality to sort of scan people and make sure that that they're safe and they can take their temperatures contact without any contact. So it's pretty high tech, some of the stuff that they're doing. This I thought was pretty cool when I first saw it, but then I saw something similar at Woolworths, when I was shopping the other week. But anyway, these little disinfectant robots that go around the airport, and they basically are constantly cleaning and making sure everything's spotless. So that's quite a good thing. Even with the luggage, there's ultraviolet disinfected tunnels that clean the luggage when it's coming into and out of the airport. So they've really thought of everything as far as that goes. Of course, the whole social distancing is very important. And hang on one sec, I seem to have frozen. Don't you hate that?
We're good. We can.
Yeah, just give me one sec. I'm just
no problems.
no
problems. These things happen. Any questions, anyone? Send them through.
Yeah, I'm just going to reshare again.
Okay.
Yeah, from current slide.
I'd just like to know which Woolies you shop at, because mine certainly doesn't have that sort of a cleaner.
That was at the Woolworths at where was that at Walleye Creek? Yeah, just in Sydney. Yeah, so yeah, that's near where I live in Sydney. Yeah, so I mentioned that there's these lovely Q suites, and you can see me sort of sitting in one in the picture there. And I really think these are, we've got a lovely economy class product, but in maybe during the pandemic or even into the future, people are going to want to have their space. They're going to want to have their privacy. So, so we have these enclosed suites that are, you've got your own space, you've got your own sliding doors that you can close off and have your own space. It's a lovely, lovely product. We think it's the best business class in the world. In fact, it's been voted world's best business class 8 times in the last 9 years. I can't show you a picture of the service, but whether your clients are traveling in economy class or business class, we have really fantastic service on board. So it's a really fantastic product. Here's a short video showing, this is quite interesting because it shows what it's like on board.
How does it feel to discover your own private sanctuary in the clouds? To enjoy the freedom, safety, comfort and ease of every suite being an aisle seat. And to dine when you like, choosing the finest meals and beverages from our full a la carte menu. To stay connected to those who matter most with our complimentary Wi-Fi, or to experience a world of endless entertainment on our award-winning Oryx One. And when it's time to rest your eyes, stretch out on your fully lie-flat bed for a relaxing journey. How does it feel? Well, it feels a lot like this. Our Q Suite is truly the most private business class in the skies. Travel safely with the airline you can rely on. Qatar Airways, going places together.
Adam, the video started just as you were explaining why it was interesting.
Yeah, just because of the way that the flying's changed, and this sort of leads me on to my next point. Thanks, Richard. You've got the flight attendants wearing full PPE at the moment. So it's really safe. People, you might have seen in the video as well that people wearing face shields and masks, and everything is so carefully presented, and it's handled so safely. I know that we have even got a touchless entertainment system now. You can just use your personal devices to operate the entertainment system. So you don't even have to touch anything. You've got little packs that you're given out on board, which have got face masks and hand sanitizer and gloves. So everyone is so careful. So that's so I think that's a good reassuring thing to talk to your clients about, because they're probably going to have questions about the onboard experience. There's of course the HEPA filters, which remove 99.97% of viral and bacterial, contaminants in the air. So that's quite reassuring for people as well. While our flights at the moment are relatively empty, they can spread people out all over the place. We hope that they won't stay that way for long, but trust me, even if we get back to having full planes again, there are so many strong, good safety measures that you can reassure your clients with. This is quite cute. Another one of these sort of robotic devices that we have on board. And it's like a robot that comes on board and shines ultraviolet light on all the seats in between the flights. And so they get so well cleaned, you wouldn't believe. So really there's so many things that are being done to make sure that, it's a really safe experience for your clients to fly with us. And hopefully you guys soon too. This is just a route map showing all the places that we fly to at the moment. There's a few missing because it's hard to keep up to date because we're always launching new destinations. We went down to about 30 destinations at the start of the pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, we were about 160 destinations. Really proud to say we've actually built that back up to around 130 now. So you can see the sheer number of places, for example, in Europe that we fly to. So if you're going to do the barge cruises, obviously you can come into Paris, but as I was saying earlier, probably a lot of your clients are going to want to do other things when they travel over to Europe as well. So we fly to more places in Europe than anybody else does from Australia. So that's a really good sort of indication of all of the wonderful places we fly to around the world, and that's going to keep growing over the coming months and years. We fly out of Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, Perth, and very excitingly for us, we started flying out of Brisbane about a year ago. So we really have got all the bases covered, not Northern Territory, which was mentioned earlier, but every other part of Australia. And also if anyone has got clients in New Zealand, we also fly out of Auckland as well. And there's a lot of people like going to the UK. So we have, in normal circumstances, Heathrow, Edinburgh, Manchester, and Birmingham and different places. But at the moment it's Heathrow, Edinburgh, Manchester, and so many interesting places in Europe that we fly to. Very proud to say that the most recent times the Skytrax Awards they weren't presented last year. And I'm not sure if they're going to be coming out this year as well, but we won at the most recent time the World's Best Airline in 2019, and that was the 5th time in the last 8 years that we have won that World's Best Airline Award. And I mentioned previously, we've also won World's Best Business Class in the Skytrax Awards 8 times in the last 9 years. This is just some images of the lovely lounges that we have at the airport. So when your clients are flying over to Europe or wherever they're flying with us, if they're in the lovely Q suites, they have access to the most beautiful lounges in the world. There's also lovely shopping there. I'm just going to move through this quite quickly because I don't want to take up too much more time. There's things like a swimming pool inside the airport hotel, which is inside the terminal area. So at the moment, people can't do stopovers in Qatar, but hopefully they'll be open again soon. But a lot of people, are happy to stay inside the hotel inside the airport, which is a lovely 5-star standard. It's got a gym, it's got really nice spa facilities, they have squash courts, and just the idea of going for a swim during your layover, I find that very appealing. Hopefully, as I said, when your clients are doing their trips to Europe next year, we will have Qatar open again for stopovers. I've been there quite a few times over the years, and it is a really interesting place to have a look at. Quite similar to Dubai in some ways, but a lot more culture. And very exciting, at the end of next year, the FIFA Football World Cup the Soccer World Cup is going to be on in November next year. So, you never know, your clients might be interested in heading to Qatar for that. There's so much to see and do, visa-free arrival for 80 countries. it's really good for touring around, and they're building all these most amazing stadiums. The picture there is of the Islamic Art Museum. There's a new National Museum that's opened quite recently too. And so there's a lot of culture there, as well as having the big shopping centres, you know, like in other parts of the Middle East. So it's well worth having a look at. Very safe, very clean, and very interesting. That's about it for me. Thank you very much for having me on. I really hope, like me, you guys get to, like me, you're all wishing to travel again very soon. So we'll have to keep our fingers crossed that it'll be possible very soon. And thanks for your time, and all the best.
Good on you. Thanks, Adam. But you can't leave yet because I've got some questions for you.
Yeah.
If you could stop sharing your screen for me. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Any comments, Walter, before we hit him with some questions?
No, the only thing I wanted to say was that I asked Adam to come on because the last trip I took up to Paris was actually with Qatar, and we did do a stopover in Doha on the way, and it was absolutely worthwhile spending a couple of days there. And the airline itself was it was fantastic. It was we had a great trip up there and back. So with Qatar, because I do fly into Paris, but they also fly into Edinburgh, and they also fly into Dublin. So when we launch our brochure in the next couple of weeks, covering those countries, then we do have a gateway there with Qatar as well.
The Italy, Venice, Rome, Milan, and Pisa in normal circumstances as well. So
Perfect.
Yeah.
I want to know who plays squash in an airport.
They've got a golf simulator too, so you could play golf if you prefer, Richard. You know, so yeah, there's lots of things.
More
to
leisurely, isn't it? I just can't imagine playing squash.
Yeah.
It's so tiring. Wayne Fountain says, "Hi Adam, are all flights ex-Australia routed via Doha?"
Yes, they are. That's our hub. Like, you know, the other Middle Eastern airlines have got their hubs. We have Doha. That's where everything goes through.
Yeah. So no direct to anywhere. Everything goes through Doha.
No, yeah, that's right.
Gotcha. Okay. Katie Warner says, any news on visitors visas for stopovers for vaccinated passengers?
Not yet, but we hope very soon. I'd be guessing if I told you I knew exactly when it was, but yeah, the country's very, very keen to host tourists in the future. Prior to the pandemic, there was these fantastic deals where it was like $29 or something for your first night in Doha, and at some really lovely 5-star hotels. It was at some really, really great deals. So I'm hoping they may have similar deals again for when your clients may be traveling next year or even later this year if we get lucky. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it opens up again soon, but I don't have any idea of dates at the moment.
Regine, Tendam says, I repatriated several clients back to their home country last month with QR, and they were very satisfied.
Great to hear that. Yeah, we brought 250,000 Australians home. So that's been our mission really over the last 12 months. So we're really, once again, really proud of having done that.
That's astonishing, isn't it? That's quite something to brag about. Adam, if the clients stay in the airport hotel, is their luggage stored by the airline or do they pick it up on arrival, says Karen McGee? Very
good question. They always get the bags checked through unless they're there for more than 24 hours. So if it's less than 24 hours, just get your clients to pack like their stuff in their carry-on that they'll need if they're staying for a long period of time at the airport. But if it's more than 24 hours, yes, they'll collect their luggage. There's a remark been added about our national carrier maybe not living up to some of the things that your airline has done. From Gina, I shall skip over that quite quickly. How long do you recommend to stay in Doha as a tourist to look around, says Marty? I would stay approximately 3 days. You can stay longer, you can stay shorter. Depends what you want to do, but 3 days is a good amount of time because there's museums, there's shopping centres. You might want to go and look at the World Cup stadiums because they're pretty amazing. And because a lot of the hotels are lovely resort hotels and the weather's weather's quite hot normally, so it's nice just to relax by the pool as well. So if you're there during the winter months, say from October through to March, that's when it's really quite pleasant and not too hot. But if you're there the other 6 months of the year, it's really quite hot, just like the rest of the Middle East, Southern Europe. It's what the climate is. So that's when you might want to go out early in the morning or in the evening, and then just relax by the pool, or chill out during the day, or go to the shopping centres, which are all air conditioned.
I would also suggest that if you are going around and having a look at anything during the day, then make sure you've got a private chauffeur with an air-conditioned car. We decided we were going to be brave and actually walk.
Yeah.
And we gave that up pretty quickly, I've got to tell you.
I'm sure you did. They built a metro. They built an underground metro railway, which opened about a year ago, or just like a year and a half ago. And so that's all air conditioned as well. So that's a new thing that's quite convenient as well. But yes, it gets really hot, just like it does throughout the Middle East during the summer months. So that's why they've moved the World Cup to November. It's going to go from November 22 to just before Christmas 22.
That brings us to the end of the questions. So I guess we're moving on to prizes now. Walter, would that be correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we are.
Okay, you're going to have to bear with me while I mess around with my screen.
That's right.
Which
We've
has
got
decided to be to go funny on me. But here we go. Sharing screen.
We've got two prizes from Adam from Qatar. And the first one, there we go. Basically, we've got one of the amenity kits, as well as a notebook from Qatar. We get a Unique Cruises lanyard and a couple of Unique Cruises pens.
These are our business class amenity kits, so they're really nice.
I didn't get one of those, Adam.
Winner of that is Andrea Newport.
Oh, well done, Andrea.
Is any relation to the Nadine Newport that won earlier on, I wonder? Are we allowing relatives to win things?
I don't mind.
We will look into that later on. I hadn't noticed that. The other one is Rosalind Rogers.
Oh, well done, Rosalind.
Congratulations.
And what does she win?
The same thing, just a different amenity kit.
The different
There
photograph.
we go. Yeah, different photograph, that's it. Different amenity kit, but otherwise the same thing with the notepad, the Unique Cruises pens and lanyard.
Cool. Oops. So stop sharing. My mistake. That's quite fiddly. Anyway.
It is a bit fiddly. That's all
We're
right.
back.
All right, thanks everybody.
Thanks so much, Adam.
And Gina says, happy for everyone to see Richard as a former employee of Qantas and a born and bred Australian. I'm very grateful to QR for bringing so many Aussies home. What a nice way to leave that. So, Walter, any comments before we have our next guest?
No, as I said, it was the first time that I had flown with Qatar. And I know that they had done a lot of repatriation, which is why I asked Adam to come and do a presentation this afternoon. So if people have not flown with Qatar, then I'd highly recommend it.
Thanks, Adam. Qatar is fantastic, says Katie Warner. Right, let's move on. We should all have... Oh, he's back. He's back to just accept that gratitude from everyone. But now, Karen, if you...
Thanks again, guys. Thank you.
You're welcome. Karen's back. We've hardly spoken to you, Karen, because you just said hello and disappeared. But let's move on to you. And we're here to talk about Belmond. Let's check we can hear you, first of all.
Can you hear me now?
We can indeed. So everyone should now have a drink because we're moving on to 7:15 p.m. for those of us on the East Coast here. So let's hand over to you.
Okay. So I'll just quickly share the screen. I'm just wondering if you can see
we can see your notes.
Oopsie, oopsie, whoopsie. What's happened here? Bear with me.
That's all right.
Stop the share and start again. It worked before. Let's see.
It's not the same without dramas. I just think it's this is what we're all used to now.
Because I have it set up ready to go. So let's just see if it goes this time again.
No, we're back to seeing that again. I know this worked. I'll give her a credit. We did do this before.
Okay, this is really weird because we did do it in the before part and it did work beautifully. So let's just Because I
But
think
you've got the one screen, have you?
I have.
Okay.
There is a way, so let me.
Marty says no rush. We do have time. Many months, I think, is the thing. But
Oh dear, it's just playing a little trick on me. I think we're nearly there now. It's just a bit slow. So if I was,
you hit presenter view now, or present.
let me just see if
I
that's
reckon
going to work.
not presenter view. Sorry, my mistake. Not that one. You want to go back to where you were just now, without that one, not the presenter view.
Are you still seeing my screen just out of
No,
interest?
no.
Because
Everyone gets the opportunity to look at me again, which I'm sure they're quite happy with.
I think it's going to work now.
Yeah, there we go.
Done it.
Well done.
Okay, so you can literally, just so I know, you can see my screen.
Yes.
Yep.
We
But
are
just
good.
film on to start with.
We
Yes.
can't see any of your commentary, which is
Oh, there you go. Thank you, everyone, for being patient with me. Look, it's just so great to have this opportunity. And firstly, I'd like to thank Walter and, of course, Richard for facilitating tonight. And Walter, congratulations on your launch.
Yeah.
It's just fantastic to have Unique Cruises as a valued partner of Belmond, part of the world's leading luxury travel group.